Hey guys, it's Stephen and Phil here back on Club 40, and today we're taking a very close look at the very first kits ever for FC Cincinnati as an MLS team. They've joined the roster, Phil, and there's quite a story behind this one. Phil's been doing this thing where he browses Twitter and he knows basically everything that's going on in terms of the backlash and the story behind it all. But essentially, this is their first season in America's premier football competition, not soccer, football. And basically, there's a bit of a story behind this, isn't it, Phil? What's going on here?
Yeah, I've been really closely watching this because anytime there's a new team in MLS, I'm always interested to see what
I love that they do that, by the way. It's just a cultural thing, like the idea of a new team. Like the idea still as a UK fan of football, a European football fan, is this no relegation thing. It still blows my mind that a team can just appear into.
Well, imagine that if all the sort of championship clubs and then one year the Premier League just sort of
need a new one.
Basically picks out the one which largely makes the most money, but it is a really strange system. But from a kit perspective, it does mean a lot of new stuff.
So what's the story going into it?
But yeah, this unfortunately for FC Cincinnati, they've had a lot of negative backlash for two reasons. The first one being the kits themselves, and they've got a really interesting color scheme. The team, blue and orange. Unfortunately, they've basically been given a couple of templates. Now, templates aren't necessarily a bad thing. We talk about that a lot, but I really don't like, particularly with the home kit, the way with that template that we've got there, which is a teamwear template from Adidas. The orange kind of design looks a bit kind of brown against the blue. To me, if you're going to have a colour like orange, you'd want it to be a bit more bold. I just don't think that colour works with that design.
Orange and blue isn't a nice combination anyway.
No, especially when you see that crest there, really those colours really pop out.
Yeah.
And then when you come to the shirt, it just looks a bit.
It looks better on the away shirt anyway.
It does, and I think the away shirt again it's a template. At least I think with that one, you'd say that it's a bit cleaner. But anyway, the club said, understandably because of the short turnaround time of when they were
they said that, didn't
announced. They did, and
to temper fans' expectations. Apparently, they wanted to say this year isn't going to be our best year. But you think, I'm sorry, but it's hardly. When did they find out they're going to move to the MLS? I'm sure it wasn't like yesterday.
Well, that's the thing. It was a period of about 6 months. I think maybe a bit longer. Now, of course, a lot of people, went to the club's defence and said, it takes a couple of years. But actually, I think in my mind, surely someone was sort of preparing for the opportunity if they were going to be in MLS team, to make a bit of a splash.
But I'm sorry, but you don't stop designing kits because you're not sure what competition you're going to be in for the next season. Surely they're we need a new kit for next year anyway.
Well, there was complication with that in that they were with Nike before.
Oh, okay. Because Adidas with MLS.
And that's a tricky thing, So I think this definitely, and it points to that issue, the issues of having a forced manufacturer.
Get the fans to do it. If all else fails, just put a competition up, which is coming very soon on FOOTY.COM as well. Keep your eye on that. We're going to do a competition soon about designing your own shirts. But essentially, just put it out to the fans, give it a week, and there'll be a vote there. It's very popular. It raises publicity. I don't get it. Just get the fans. Someone will do a nice job. Adidas can go, right, we didn't have to worry about paying a designer. We'll make that kit. But I guess they want to probably shift some of those template kits they've got lying around, essentially rebrand them, reskin them, and get rid of some stock from 2017.
It's an unfortunate start for a team that could make waves. Certainly, they're a really good team in the league they're in.
Any notable players for FC Cincinnati if we're not familiar with them?
There's only a couple I could think of. One of them is an old Arsenal favourite, Justin Hoyt, who, believe it or not, is still playing. I think he's a bit older. He's kind of 33, 34.
I thought he'd be about 48.
Still good,
he was one of those ones that used to come through. I swear he came through in that team where Arsenal used to play the League Cup all the time.
Giroud, or not Giroud, but the Swiss...
Giroud, Johan Giroud.
Yes.
Yeah, and they also had Seb Larson was a kid then as well.
Larson,
that was when they had Jose Antonio Reyes, that era, and what they'd do, they'd rest those players, and that was around the Arshavin era. I loved Arshavin. They'd rest them and play all those kids, and those are the exciting ones, and they got to the semi-finals one year. I think it's the final.
David Bentley had a really good couple of cup runs for them.
So Justin Hoyt essentially is FC Cincinnati's star player.
Well, he's one of them. I mean, the other big name, and it's only big if you follow MLS or if you're into Costa Rica, but Kendall Watson, who's I think Costa Rica's captain.
Don't know.
No, this is pushing your knowledge. But I think he was playing for Vancouver or someone, so they basically signed him. But essentially, it's a team which is relatively low key. They haven't signed the kind of huge player like your Nannies or your Roonies.
All these Zlatans. See, they make the debut on the 2nd of March against Seattle Sounders. So it's closing in now. It's quite interesting, like seeing. I mean, they're not a new club; they've been around for a while.
Yep. But
they've obviously made the step up. It's just such a American thing, isn't it?
It's crazy, yeah.
It's like in wrestling how they have like undercut. You know, like in wrestling WWE or whatever, they always have like a training league, and then eventually if they get good enough, they get to join the big roster. It's like, I know that's all like fake and that, but like, essentially, it's like you've been selected. Like, do you have to put like a proposal in to say choose us?
Yeah, I think how it works is there's an element of a bidding process in that teams will essentially, sort of, I guess, be in a position to sort of say, hey, we're ready. But then I think the league has the final say. So they will look at things like how much, what your fan attendance is like, your plans for sort of growing that in the future. So I know certainly with FC Cincinnati, they're going to be building a new stadium in a couple of years. Interestingly, they're in a state, Ohio, where I believe there are a team in Columbus Crew, so there's already a kind of ready-made rivalry.
That's rare, isn't it? I guess
it's rare, and the league loves that. It's one of the reasons that the LAFC, that was a really tempting proposition because, of course, you got the LA Galaxy.
Yeah, of course.
But it is a strange
why also
thing.
with New York as well, where they push New York City form.
Exactly, New York City.
Rivalries what make football great, aren't they?
They do, and the MLS are big on that. Obviously, American fans, they do look to Europe and they want the kind of... It's why there's a really strange ultra
A lot of them
culture.
don't want relegation, though. I've looked into it and surprised. They're quite proud of their system.
Well, that's the thing. They want elements. They want the fierce rivalries. They want the ultra... kind of culture, but then they don't want
the ultra culture.
The ultra culture, that's strange.
That's a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Someone start that and get going.
That's it. But they don't want relegation, and they don't want kind of some of the things as they perceive as negative. But of course, as we hold dear, actually, there's something about that. But anyway, that's another video.
It's fascinating because I think the MLS is on the brink of doing something quite special if it wants to. But I honestly think they are hamstrung by their own decisions, and I think the competitiveness is lost a little bit. Like also the draft thing, I still can't get my head around that either. It's interesting, but anyway, back onto the kits. The home one, the second one is very, very, very plain, but I still think it looks nicer than the home one. And purely I could imagine myself wearing it casually, and that's essentially about as in-depth review you're gonna get from me on that one. But I think it's still a nicer job than the kind of confusing home kit. But anyway, guys, it's a little bit of a waffle there on FC Cincinnati. What do you make of the draft system as well in the MLS, and also this whole like no relegation, no promotion thing? Because as a European-based football fan, it does blow my mind a little bit, and obviously it must be confusing for like South America as well, because they must look at it and go, "What are you doing, guys?" Even Central America as well, because obviously they play a more traditional way there. But then America's a world upon itself, really, isn't it? It plays by its own rules, which I guess is its biggest strength and also maybe its biggest weakness. But anyway, getting a bit philosophical there. Let us know in the comments what you make of the shirts and all that kind of stuff, and don't forget there are plenty more MLS kit videos knocking about as we get closer to the MLS launch. We'll be doing more videos about it as well, because it's quite fun at this time of season to talk about that kind of thing. Anyway, if you're new, subscribe. I'm Stephen, this is Phil. In a bit.